Hello there, and welcome to another Wine Steward video. We appreciate the fact that you folks are still watching. In fact, many of you are, and it's cool. Some of you read, some of you watch, some of you come on in and listen to us telling you face-to-face about a great wine down there. We're upstairs here at the WineBar mezzanine. At any rate, we will get to you one way or the other, and we're trying to talk to you via video today, so here we go. Let's tell you about what's right in front of you. This is almost a dead topic. In other words, we are now at, I think, 23 people signed up for the upcoming Wrath and Other Wines event. We'll be pouring no fewer than 7 different wines from that producer down in Monterey, that Pinot Noir specialist. 4 of the wines will be, in fact, Pinot Noir, as well as a beautiful sparkling wine, the very first time a Wrath Brut Rosé has ever been made, and certainly the first time it's ever left the winery. It's only 200 cases made and doesn't get out of the house much, but we made a special request for that just in time for Valentine's Day. I think this is the kind of thing you'll want to be sharing with your sweetheart in a couple of weeks, so it's a timely taste of the Brut Rosé, a gorgeous Chardonnay called Fermata by Wrath, and a beautiful Northern Rhone style Syrah that I can't wait to share with you. It will perplex some, it will make others very, very happy, but all will say this is distinctively interesting and or delicious wine. So that Wrath Syrah is pretty much for me, but I'll share. Now, I've mentioned 7 wines. We don't do events with just 7 wines, do we? No, we go to at least 10, and we will in fact go to, gosh, I think 12, maybe 13, who knows, perhaps 14 wines. But what can we do besides Wrath? Well, why don't we feature wines that are sold to us by the same broker friend, Liz, and friends, I should say, Liz and now Jason, her rep, of Springboard Wine Company. So we're gonna explore that portfolio. Besides the Wrath, we're gonna pour 2 wines from Italy. One is a beautiful Sangiovese, the other is a gorgeous Nebbiolo. So 2 very different examples of arguably the 2 most famous grape varieties of Italy, Sangiovese and Nebbiolo, as made in Barolo. And then, let's see, how about a German Riesling, a nice dry one, a Trocken. I think it'll change the minds of a lot of you about Riesling when you try this gorgeous wine. And then we're gonna come to the good old US of A before we hit the Wrath Trail and try a wine from Washington State, and why not our home valley of the Napa Valley, just to the north of us. Finally, after the Wrath, let's see if my sequence of taste gets approval from the others. But I want to finish off with Rioja, and I was wondering last week on video whether or not we would show 2. We will, in fact, show a more traditional Rioja from the 2014 vintage, which makes that wine a little bit older, and the 14 vintage was not as fruit forward. So this is a beautiful savory style, classical Rioja, you could say, in the form of Gomez Cruzado. And then the other wine will be from Roda, and that'll be 4 years younger and more of a beautiful expression of fruit. So, at any rate, I've spent, 5 minutes talking about our event that's nearly sold out, but as of right now, 3 seats remain available, and we'd love to have those of you who have not heard yet but are very interested in this particular topic, sign up now on the winesteward.com. How about that? With respect to events, let's also remind that 1 week later, in fact 6 days later, is our very first Wine Appreciation 101 class that we've held in such a very, very long time, pre-pandemic times at least. I think we haven't done one in perhaps 4 years, and I'm gratified that that one is now filling up and is nearly sold out, but there are some seats remaining for a Wine 101 class on Tuesday, February 7th. Wine 101, yes, we will have a good 10 tastes for you, which each inspires a particular topic that I think we could all bone up on a little bit. Maybe the value of stemware and what makes a good wine glass, and does the shape of a wine glass really matter? And I think you will find that it does, but we will want to prove the point by putting the same wine perhaps into 2 or 3 different glass shapes. And then we'll talk about how to read perhaps a foreign wine label. Why are they like, where's the word Chardonnay? I can't find it anywhere, doggone it. This isn't called Cabernet, what's it made of? We'll explain all that. So there's gonna be good wine tasting going along with these very, very useful topics. And I want you to bring your own questions too, whereas we do have to remain somewhat on outline. We will keep enough time for your great questions and your interactions. We wanna hear your reactions to all these wines. So this is gonna be more of a conversation than ramming information down your throat, all right? So it'll be fun. Wine 101. For that, I'm going to start a rumor, but it's pretty much a true rumor. Anyway, starting in early March and for every other Tuesday for 6 Tuesdays, in other words, one Tuesday and then a week off, another Tuesday, then a week off. On each of these, we're going to be presenting classes on wines of the old world. This is going to be sold as a package. In other words, you're signing up for all 6 of those Tuesday events. Wines of the Old World is a series of classes we tried to put on right when the pandemic was starting, and we finally got to refund everybody's money. That thing filled right up, and then, oh, sorry, here's your money back. Let's wait and see if, we'll ever do this thing again. Well, we're bound and determined to do it again. We will treat this more as a class. There will actually be homework in the form of reading and reporting back on what you learned in your reading and so on. So we're going to be a little classy with this, but the wines will be great. Wines of the old world, in other words, mostly European wines. We're going to deal with one country at a time. That will be fun. Starting in early March, I'll be announcing that very, very soon on thewinesteward.com and in one of our constant contact emails. Now, let's get to what we're doing on this week's flight, because even though we do a weekly video, they are never redundant because that WineBar menu changes every week. We go downstairs and choose a brand new set of wines to put on the menu, and that happened yesterday, so we're all ready to go. The wines are chilled when needed, and let's just tell you what we're doing. This is certainly chilled, and I think I have some here. Oh, shoot, where's my glass? There it is. Yes, this is sparkling wine. We always have a sparkling wine of the week, but this one is very unusual in that it is made entirely of Grenache Blanc from the region of Costières-de-Nîmes, which is in the southwest part of the southern Rhone Valley of France. So 100% Grenache Blanc. It's a brut, it's very dry, and beautiful, evasive, pale white fruits. Nice stuff. It'll wake up your mouth, it'll make you hungry. You'll order a cheese platter as soon as you have a sip of this, I'm sure. Cheers. That's the sparkling wine of the week. Now, I thought we ought to do something we haven't done in a while. In fact, we're going to do that twice. With the white flight and the red flight, we're going to do things that we haven't done in a while. Now, with the white flight, it's going to be showing you entirely domestic wines. Maybe you think the wine steward is so like all about foreign wine, so hoity-toity, and you'll never drink an American wine, will you, Jim? Yes, I will. And in fact, I'll share these 5 with you. How about that? This week at the Wine Bar, we are presenting 5 domestic whites. The first one is Péjus Sauvignon Blanc. I love this wine for what it isn't. In other words, it's a very quiet wine. It's evasive, the acidity is nice and high, it's a crisp, refreshing, zingy, well, frankly, summertime white, but it's delicious now. A lot of people drink Sauvignon Blanc all year long. This will make you very happy. Péjus Sauvignon Blanc, North Coast. Let's go straight to the Napa Valley, the Carneros part of the Napa Valley. That's the southern part where a grape like Pinot Grigio can work. Pinot Grigio is the Italian name for Pinot Gris. Did you know that? They're the same grape. We're going to pour a Pinot Gris next, but here's Pinot Grigio from our friends at Laird Winery. So all Napa Valley fruit, very friendly wine. Nice texture, clean, refreshing. You know, Pinot Grigio is nice in that it doesn't offend anybody. It is maybe a little low on complexity, but they make a better one. This has some nice stone fruit going on. Anyway, Laird Pinot Gris is the second wine in our white wine flight entirely from the good old US of A. The next one takes us up to Oregon. Yes, did you know Oregon is part of our country? It is. It is up north of us. And this is from the Willamette Valley, perhaps one of the great pioneers of the Willamette Valley, the Eyrie, one of the very, very first wineries to cultivate a grape up there. David Lett was, he's long gone now, but his son, I believe, is involved at the Eyrie. And this family, this is an institution that has had a lot to do with the formation and sustenance of this Willamette Valley, wine valley. Dundee Hills in particular is the location for this fruit. Pinot Gris, we thought it would be cool to show you a Pinot Gris after a Pinot Grigio and discuss the fact that, yes, it's the same grape. It's a mutation of Pinot Noir, by the way. All right, the Eyrie Pinot Gris. A little more complexity there, and the price is a little more complex too. Let's take you to a wine that many of you just simply do not consider. When you're roaming the aisles of the Wine Steward, you see Viognier and you just look the other way. Look right back at this one. This is from Jaffers. I mentioned it last week when we were bringing aboard their Syrah and putting that on the Wine Bar menu last week. This week, their Viognier is on the Wine Bar menu. This is very delicate, evasive. I think I've used the word evasive a couple times today, but this one certainly is with respect to how obvious and overt a Viognier can be. So this is more delicate, high acid Yes, it has Viogniers fragrance, but it's turned down as if somebody is like, it has a volume dial on the back and somebody turned it down just so it's not like too much. It is enough and not too much. It's beautiful Viognier from one of the most famous vineyards in California, Bienacido Vineyard in Santa Maria Valley of Santa Barbara County. Great Viognier. Next up, the final wine. You know, this is another thing we don't do very often. We don't often put a big, sexy, yummy, gorgeous, tropical, almost oaky, buttery style Chardonnay in the white flight. Well, sometimes it's served only as like a by the glass wine. We're gonna put it in a flight, doggone it. This is a very good example of big Chardonnay made by J-Lore. We've heard of them, right? Well, J-Lore makes several different Chardonnays, and this is up several notches from the regular stuff you might see at the grocery store. This is called October Night, referring to the fact that this the fruit for this wine hangs until October generally, and that's long hang time for Chardonnay, by the way. At any rate, nice stuff from J-Lore. Good job, guys. Generous, decadent style Chardonnay. We are going to pour a wine by the glass only, so I'm mentioning it sans flight. It is not going to be member of a flight. This is a wine imported by Kermit Lynch. It's made by a producer, Lionel, I think his first name is. I think so. Anyway, let's just fake that. Last name, I do know that one. Faury, F-A-U-R-R-Y. Faury is a producer of fantastic Saint Joseph. That's Northern Rhone Syrah. And when you don't want to buy it for that, you can buy this instead. This is under $30. Beautiful expression of Syrah. Pour it into one of these glasses and smell that pepper. It's really lovely, elegant, medium-bodied wine. It's not a big, heavy Syrah. It doesn't need to be. Fragrant, very, very expressive wine. Colline Rodanian, it's kind of like saying the Côte du Rhône of the Northern Rhone. Is a general area, Northern Rhone wine. So not as site-specific as his Saint Joseph, but beautiful. It's a good chip off the old block wine from a Syrah, Northern Rhone Syrah specialist. Faury. I think you're Lionel, right? All right, let's get to that red flight. Another unprecedented red flight. In other words, this time around, we're pouring big wines. And in fact, Dick and Sandy were here yesterday kind of previewing the flight. They were here for the first day of the menu publication and came to me afterwards after enjoying these wines and thanked me for finally putting some bigger wines on the flight. In other words, it's not all about evasive and medium body, right? Come on, let's pour some really nice, rich, more fruit-forward wines for once, especially because it's wintertime. I think these wines really work during colder weather. So let's take you first to a beautiful Syrah from Rusack. Rusack is virtually next door neighbors with our friend Pete Stoltman in Ballard Canyon of Santa Barbara County. And you might notice, I don't know if you can see that on the glass, but did you know that the Syrahs of Ballard Canyon in Santa Barbara County are actually permitted to, at least by their local set of rules, have a particular bottle with the name Ballard Canyon on there. So it only happens for the Syrahs of that region if the producer there chooses to use this bottle. But it's kind of meant to help proclaim and promote the hitherto unknown region called Ballard Canyon. Where is it? It's just a little bit west of Los Olivos. Very beautiful area. You might ride a bike through there, but you won't go wine tasting there except to Rusack. They're the only tasting room actually in Ballard Canyon. Everybody else has their tasting rooms in downtown Los Olivos or Solvang or somewhere like that. Anyway, beautiful Syrah, great way to start the flight. Neighbor of Stoltman. I'm just dropping names because I think you've heard of Stoltman, right? At any rate, let's go next to a Syrah. No, Shiraz. Well, kind of like the Pinot Grigio thing. This is the same grape, but the Australians just choose to call it Shiraz, as would a South African. But in this case, this is Barossa Shiraz from the great producer Thorne Clark. 93 points from somebody. It's really big and yummy. Great wine. That was the back doorbell. So I'm going to rip through this real quick. Let's put all three of these wines here and sign off because I got to go receive a delivery. How about that? At any rate, Pessimist, Petit Syrah, big sucker. Barua, big scruffy sucker. And my head is disappearing. And finally, from our friend Adam Webb, a gorgeous Zinfandel that we would love for you to admire. Try some Zin for once. That's at the end of the flight. This is the end of the video. Thank you very much. I'm going to go receive some wine. Let's receive you up at the Mezzanine Wine Bar soon. Thanks, and have a great weekend, and go Niners. By the way, we'll have the game on this Sunday. See you soon.